to our annual meeting of Crashbase. Yay!
Yay! All right, so
Yay.
I got to write down everybody's name. It's based on that. Okay, so let's see. Theron's here.
That would have been you could have started that before.
Wait, what? Oh.
Nothing.
That's okay. I'll vamp a little bit for you while you do that. Thank you everybody for coming. So this is obviously a little different from past years. Normally we would all gather in a room at the Veterans Center in Culver City, and we can't do that because of COVID. So we are gathering here on the internet thanks to Google Meet and all of our digital powers. So thank you everyone for coming, and we have a bit of an agenda Levi put together.
Yeah.
So we're going to go over basically go over the last year, and then cover the results of the election. So that is what we're planning on doing.
Let's see, Kevin is not here. Okay.
You almost done?
Almost. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Should have done this. All right. Ben's here. Okay. And we have a quorum. Okay, cool.
Well, on that point,
yeah,
we have a quorum of votes.
Right.
We're short of a quorum of if this were entirely to be held in person. So that may not be an appropriate element for the notes.
Okay, so.
If just a point of order, there's a difference between a quorum for the meeting, which would be enough of the board to take action, versus a quorum of the members, which that's dependent on whether we had enough votes come in because of the way the voting happened.
Right.
So
yeah, we're good
can
there.
I ask Levi, do we have a quorum of board members?
We do have a quorum of board members, yeah.
Excellent. Then we got a meeting.
Yeah. So that's why I put down yes. Yeah. All right. So I guess I want to just open up with our annual report so far. So I've had people send me stuff or edit it. I think the last person actually to edit it was Ben Sachs. So I should put this in the chat. Here is. All right.
You can also share you can share it, right? You can present. You can present.
I could.
The thing and
I could do that. All right. I will do that. Hold on a second. Here. Present. There we go. A Chrome tab. Present this Chrome tab. All right. Here it is. So anyway, the link is here. So our annual report so far, this is things that people, all right, now I need to cast this one. Share this instead. Okay, so casting over to this. Oh, Liz edited it. So this is, for all of you who are looking at this, these are things about what we do at Crash. So classes, regular programming, talks we've hosted, coding social, and then like just tons of projects that people have shared out. So anyway, I included some photos here of talks, back when we did that in person. And there's a ton of them we did actually leading up to March. So I'm just scrolling. This is Music Hackers. More Music Hackers. And then a ton of the COVID-19 response, I think, is like one of the biggest things we've done, obviously. So I just want to acknowledge this is really spearheaded by Ben Sachs, who's I think is on the meeting right now. We've done a ton of this. I think we should be really proud of like the work we've done. Probably going to talk about that some more actually in this meeting. Other things, Bark makes things. And I did some stuff. All right, I finished my doctorate. That was great. Here, if you want to look at my GitHub, that's what I did. And then Ben M sent me some cool stuff here with shoot, move, shoot controller. There's all this fun stuff. Anyway, this is, thank you, by the way, everyone who shared with us. This is all record keeping to show, yes, we are a real nonprofit. Yes, we do real things. Oh yeah, Perceptoscope. All right. So anyway, I wanted to share that. Let me go back to this one. Okay.
And anybody who has, that's kind of a draft at the moment, of course, and we will pretty that up and post it to the website. So anybody who has additional stuff, please share.
Yeah. So, all right. So that's like the main thing for the annual report. And then, oh, what happened? Why is this all weird now? Ugh. Okay. All right. Okay, up is, so this is a presidential report. Any updates from our president, Justin Corwin?
So I don't know that I have newness. Unfortunately, COVID-19 is likely to affect our operations for the foreseeable future. LA in particular has been a little unclear on exactly how they foresee the current restrictions and operations going forward. But out of an abundance of caution, we have mostly canceled everything that involves in-person activities, with the exception of individuals going to Crashbase on their own and operating in a socially distanced way, which was a discussion about a month ago on the list, and several members, Steve, myself, volunteered to help unkeyed members come in and use the space if they have a pressing need, where basically we'll mask up, we'll open the space for you, and help you out from 6 feet away. But as far as I know, there haven't been any takers. I haven't gotten any emails about it. I don't know if Steve has.
Nope. Okay.
So maybe we'll make that a little clearer as a program, because I know that there are some unkeyed members who, use the space for laser cutting and tool use and stuff like that. And it would be a shame if that was completely impossible. Going forward, I think that the COVID stuff with Ben and Sean and the rest of them is going to continue to be one of the pillars of actual in-person involvement. There's also some new virtual classes and virtual events that we're trying to put together. I'm working on syllabi for some classes that we can both have as videos and as live events. So basically we'll record them the same way that we have some other things. Ham radio, I know that Jay and Carlin have both expressed interest both in the basic and the extended for general and extra, because that's what I would be going for personally. Although I know of at least one person who got all 3 licenses in a single day, which was pretty cool. If you don't know what that is, then look out for an email about that soon.
Okay.
Ham radio is super interesting. But other things like Arduino classes and simple robotics stuff, Python programming, we have the resources to teach some of these things or run meetup groups and things like that. But organizing them and convincing people to proctor them and recording them in a nice way has taken a back seat. But now that we're all on video chat anyway, it sort of has become an easier proposition in some ways. So that, and the open invitation that if you are interested in something, it is very likely that other people are interested in it too. And while I may not be able to run the event, I can certainly help you set it up. And I can help you, gather commonly interested people, because I know a lot of people. Not everything has to be just the most active Crashbase members, doing stuff. There's lots of other groups in LA that we can sort of side connect with and bring them in for a specific event or, a common work of some kind. The last thing is, given that this COVID thing is likely to extend into next year, I would be interested in trying to figure out sort of what the long-term changes that this is going to affect people with, because the current COVID response stuff is mostly focused on how can we get people PPE, how can we support health and food and mental health, but COVID's going to change everything. I mean, long term, everything. We're seeing huge changes in employment. We're seeing changes in housing, in all kinds of things. And I think that we as a community can afford to look forward a little bit and say, what sorts of resources are people going to need? What kinds of things are going to be important next January? Because we're still going to be in partial lockdown then, probably. We won't have the vaccine until like March at best. So that's it's harsh, but it's something that we should be talking about and thinking about, because we're in a position to do some good. So that's my state of the Crashbase. Thank you, guys.
No problem.
For the record, real quick, on the website, there is information for how to run an event if you want to run an event.
Yeah, and if you need further help, just get in touch with me and I will walk you through it.
Okay. Awesome. All right. I guess the next one up is going to be financial reports. So that's going to be Kurt.
Yeah, take myself off mute here. Okay, here. Let's do that. All right. There we go. Now I'm presenting. All right, so you can see this?
Yeah.
All right, excellent. So yeah, this is a month out of date. It's just to give people an idea. We have money. Crashbase is doing actually quite well dealing with the COVID crisis. As of last month, we'd only started to be affected, because if you look at our accounts, the majority of our money is actually obtained through membership fees. It's no question. We get some small donations. This year was kind of unusual, but we do get some small donations. But overwhelmingly, it's membership fees. And July was the first month that we started to see. I'm sorry, end of July and through August, first that we started to see some loss of members due to COVID and the economic downturn. That being said, I'm going to try to figure out. We generally make small amounts of money every year. We end up $1,000 or $2,000 in the black, which is really what we're trying to do, because we have plenty of money. If you check on our financial report, which is from July, you can see in our operating account we have almost $70,000. that would be including the facilities account, which is just an account that is set up to make things easier for Steve, or the facilities manager, to do his job. And then we have $50,000 in savings. We don't really need to go, as far as I can tell, in our current circumstances, having more savings or more assets. In order for us to need more assets, it would be my opinion that we would need to change our circumstances, get a lot more people, have different facilities and such. Basically, we have enough money so that if something happened to our facilities, we have enough money to find ourselves new facilities and get ourselves set up here. Now, this number that you see of almost $125,000 is a little misrepresentational of what's going on. And the reason why is because of our COVID response. If you look here, we have received almost $32,500 to assist with our COVID response. And of that, this is a little out of date here, this $15,079. It's more like $15,500 right now. So currently we're about $16,000 ahead on the COVID response, and it's expected over time that $16,000 will get spent working on the COVID response. I, for one, however, am waiting to hear about what's going on with our memberships, because if we start to see a decline in memberships, that's going to be a very negative indicator for our financial health. But just losing a few members, having a few members down for a few months, we can absorb that. But if we start to see this as a longer term trend, we're going to have to start to do some cost cutting measures. Now, I'm sure people are also asking, well, because the shop is closed down, aren't we saving some money there? And the answer is yes, we're saving money, but we're not saving very much money. I've worked it out. We save about $500 a month by not being open. That's going to change because Steve had suspended trash pickup, and that was a large bit of it. And that's returning because we need to have the trash pickup in the space again because of the use. The one thing we are going to be saving money because due to social distancing, it doesn't make any sense to have the sparklets water at the space anymore. That's not safe. So we're going to be canceling that, and that will save us around $50 a month. But that's not a huge amount compared to our monthly expenses. And that is the state of the space right now.
Thank you, Kurt. Membership report, I guess. Cobalt is okay. That's there. Virtual plant report. This would be Todd. Todd.
Yep. Hello. Sorry. Hold on a sec. Yeah, so the big news for this year is that we have the Google G Suite sort of set up. Thanks to us being an official nonprofit, we can get that for free instead of the $400 or whatever it is a month for that. Similarly, we also have Slack, which has been a great benefit during the whole COVID craziness. And that also was because we're an official nonprofit. So thanks to everyone who helped make that happen. We're currently at about 350 members on the Slack, which would put us at around the $400 a month. Again, sort of pricing tier for Slack, so it's a good savings. And it was super instrumental during the whole PPE thing we did earlier this year. But other than that, the other stuff of the virtual plant, which is our website, the blog, the crash space button, which apparently is still up, but no one's really using it. And yeah, that's what's been going on for last year in the in the crash space virtual plant, I have no idea if the crash space internet is up because I've not physically been at the space for multiple months. So I trust Steve and Kevin and others who actually go there every once in a while can verify that it's actually working.
Yeah, does anyone who's been in the space the last few months, can they verify if the internet's working? Oh, it is? Okay.
Oh, Grant said it is. Awesome, thank you.
Okay.
I mean, if the button's up.
Oh, yeah, that's, yeah. Barbara's got a good point. Okay.
All right, and
We can actually tell it remotely.
So that's the virtual plant report. Thanks.
Nice. And facilities.
The building is still standing.
Wow.
Yes, we turned the trash pickup back on, and it's already hauled away 4 of the large containers of trash out of the space. You can actually, it looks a little cleaner. I'm going to continue doing that. And that's probably about it. Like it was mentioned, I'm going to continue reaching out to the non-keyed members and trying to set up some sort of personal one-on-one, type time where people can come in and use the space. But nobody has taken us up on that invitation yet. We are working on replacing the air conditioning system. And there's a little bit of an impediment on that during the last month, the heat wave. Getting an air conditioning contractor out to give a bid. The best offer I had was for $250, he'll come out and give a bid.
Wow.
He'll look at the space. These guys are in high demand right now. So, but I'm also looking at doing DIY, which I think is appropriate for a hackerspace system. Buy professional equipment, but we kind of like just bolted in place. Replace the current system essentially with a like brand new unit. So that's it. Now there's all sorts of cleaning. All of the required cleaning supplies are sitting on the front tables. If anybody comes in, please use it. There's wipes and spray bottles and stuff. So if you actually come in and use equipment, just grab stuff off the front table and wipe down whatever you just used before and after. And that's it. There's masks there as well if you forgot your mask.
Wipe down doorknobs as well.
Yeah. Anything you touched or coughed on. So, all right. So that's facilities.
Nice. Okay. All right. So now we're actually on to the election. So by the way, those of you who cast your vote, thank you. I tallied those all up. So I'll start going through a rundown of the election results. Is that okay, Theron?
Yeah. Curiosity. Can you tell how many votes how many members voted? Is that okay? Or
yeah. If you want. So we had 27 votes,
which is just enough for us to reach quorum.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit more. I think 26 was quorum in this case. So that's great. We were doing things a little differently this year. I would just like to say thank you to everyone for voting. I think it seemed to go pretty smoothly. We had one little hiccup with the initial emails going out. I would like to sort of thank. We have 3. I'm sorry. Hang on a second. Dog trying to destroy technology. Yeah. So we have actually a large turnover on the board of directors this year. I would like to sort of thank and give a round of applause to Chris Sellerby, Kevin Jordan, and Todd Kurt for their service on the board. They will be departing. Todd is still virtual plant chair, so hopefully he won't be going missing, but so we actually have three. We will have three new board members this year, which is a pretty it's a pretty big change. So that's pretty exciting. So go ahead and why don't you go ahead and present and show the
results? Okay.
Results.
Yeah. Okay. Let me do that here. All right. So the results of here. Let me scroll down. The results. So we have 3 new people elected to the board. So we have Grant, Mo, and Ben Sachs, and Steve Akerling, or Ackerling. I don't know if that right. So those are our new board members.
Ben and Mo or Grant are here. So
Okay.
Thank you.
And I'll let Zeev know.
Yes.
So welcome to the board. I'm not sure what else to say. Welcome to the board.
No, that's we're gonna have a fun year. It's going to be an interesting and challenging year.
Yeah. The next up we have, so for president, Justin Corwin is our president. So congratulations, Justin. All right. Well, anyway, vice president Elizabeth McFarland. You are now our vice president.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yay.
And membership chair Josh. That's what you win. Josh Truitt is our new membership chair. And probably should email Cobalt. All right. Anyway,
Yeah.
Kurt, you are our CFO still.
Ah,
Yeah. Thank you.
Death will not
Yay.
remove me.
And secretary, the new secretary is Sean.
Oh, good.
Oh.
Yeah. So guess which means for the first time in 8 years, I am no longer on the board or an officer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lee.
Yeah. So I was.
Imperial.
Wait, what?
Congratulations.
Yeah, I know. I've been on the board since we incorporated. So, and at one point I was CFO and secretary, and now Sean, you get to be secretary. But you're probably gonna have questions because I've been doing this now for like 7 years, and I'm actually kind of happy to get some churn out of it because I was really worried about it being institutional memory with just me. So I'm not going anywhere. Ha 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 ha. So if you have any questions about any of this stuff, please do not hesitate to ask me. I'm just going to be teaching at UCLA from my couch. So, all right.
Look forward to it.
Yeah. So Sean, you get to learn all the fun things I've been learning since 2013. Yeah, UCouch LA. I know. Full tuition. All right. Anyway. Let's see. More election stuff. Steve, you got to be facilities chair.
Oh, thank you so much for your and votes. And your check is in the mail.
No problem. Okay, and that's for elections. That's it. So that's all been really cool. Thank you again, by the way, for letting me be secretary for 7 years.
Now, thank you for being secretary for 7 years. You've been one of the constants in the space, and it's been very helpful.
I'm not leaving the space. So anyway, don't worry. I will be with you always. All right. So that leaves us with, those are the election results. And up next, when it is put in here, was requests for next year. And this is just kind of like open the floor. What do y'all want? I guess I'm putting everyone on the spot.
Any
here.
questions? This is basically, we're opening the floor to members. So
Yeah.
any questions, comments, side remarks, requests, anything that anyone wants to bring up, do so now. Otherwise, you don't have to hold your peace because the board is always reachable. But this is an opportunity to do it at the meeting.
Mhm.
I would like to request a vaccine.
We're working on it.
You know, actually, not that it helps much, but one of my former students she's just starting her doctorate, and that's what she's researching.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, so hopefully Noah Park comes up with it. That would be really great.
Kurt mentioned that there was not a lot of reason to move more into savings. I was curious about the idea, if it's been benched, of like the Los Angeles Science Fiction Association. They went ahead and bought a space, and so they've been stable for years. Crash Space is in an amazing situation with our current landlord and the building that we're in, and that we have a lot of patience and tolerance from them, and a really low rent for LA. Are we still thinking about saving enough money to put a down payment on a space? Because, you know, losing your space is a death to a hackerspace. Although that said, I know our new board member Ben is thinking about making us, you know, a virtual Jedi ghost all over LA, so that may not be as necessary. But I'm just curious, are we still saving for real estate, or is that sort of like not really a priority anymore? Which is, either is fine. I was just sort of curious what the current board thought on that was.
I
I have to tell you, Carlin, as the CFO, I was never given a directive by the board that we are saving for real estate. If we're going to save for real estate, we need a lot more money. So you guys all go out there and get us lots more donations, because for a space like Crash would need, particularly on the west side, we'd be looking at, you know, well over $1 million property. And for a group like ours, we would probably need near a 30% down. And even that, in our current funding levels, we couldn't afford a mortgage. So I'm not sure how that would work. But you know, if the board directs me, I will work out the numbers and tell you how much we need to raise the membership fees.
That was it can be not a priority. I was just curious what the current thinking of that was. Just given that every hackerspace has failed because it needed to find a new space. And while I know we could rent a new one, it doesn't seem to work out for people. They find a new space and there's like too much churn in the membership and blah blah blah. And Crash Space is a different organization than any of these other organizations, but I was just curious, having a forever home, if we are Crash Space the space versus Crash Space the concept, is something that as a member I'm curious about.
Yeah, I think realistically we would probably have to have about $1 million saved up for a down payment.
Yeah,
or find a space that someone is willing to give us for very cheap, or
yeah.
I think the general feeling on the board is we would like to have a larger space, and perhaps the situation with COVID may change the real estate landscape enough that we can contemplate actually making a move, but we don't have concrete plans.
Yeah, I would also say that there's a lot of opportunity for us to just think about how we can build tighter relationships with the local government around things like this. As a nonprofit, we might be able to get city officials that have some warehouse available that they could lease this really cheap for like 50 years or something. Like, there's creative ways we could solve this just through kind of some smart partnerships too. So I think we should start exploring what it would mean to have a bigger space, but I don't think we should plan to get rid of our current space anytime soon. The only other thing I would wonder is like, what would it look like to try to buy the building we're in? But that's probably just a longer term discussion to think about.
Yeah, I think I remember looking kind of this idea of like city-owned properties in the past. And that was initially when I was doing work with LA Makerspace and trying to convert actually library space.
Right.
And that was a really drawn out process that I don't think ever really, after years of effort, it just never really went anywhere. So I know there's ways of doing it, but I think it's just one of those things where who do you, like, it really knowing who to actually ask, who can just give the go ahead, because otherwise you just forever end up in these chains of like, well, we have to have a meeting to decide who's going to.
Right. Well, even for the COVID response. Oh, sorry. Even for the COVID response, when we tried to first set up a space with city government, it was much more complicated than getting a space with a different independent nonprofit as in the church. So it could also be we just look for some other cool nonprofits with good spaces that we could partner with and share their spaces in some creative way. And that could also help us expand out to like the east side and other parts of town where we just don't have as much representation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if like museum spaces or universities would be interested because everything is like completely up in the air now with both those types of organizations.
Yeah.
I mean, I work with a natural history museum, USC and UCLA, and like, I mean, it like literally everything changed. So we just don't know what it's going to mean yet.
Yeah. It's a good time to explore, I guess is the best way to think of it.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of, there's probably a lot of public meeting spaces that are not currently public meeting spaces that could be turned into something.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're looking for possible government assistance or county type things, I'm on fairly decent terms with one of the county supervisors, so I would be happy to reach out. And so I think we would need a plan before I could do that.
Okay.
Or specific things we're looking for before.
Plans are always good. I was also curious about in terms of that plan. I think my statement was more about what do we see? I know the world is very unstable right now in terms of its long. Part of my instinct is like, hey, are we still thinking about like finding a permanent space? Is because of the lack of permanence of so much in the world, and sort of like, so what are our, like, if we owned the space, we wouldn't have to worry about the landlord dying. If we owned a space, we wouldn't have to worry about different things. We wouldn't have to worry about paying our monthly net. And we've talked about this occasionally. I think a long-term lease is a great choice. But it'd have to be a long, and when, like, 50 years, great. So I just wanted to bring that up again with everything sort of like up in the air, knowing that Crashbase like wasn't ever going to have to worry about where it is. Psychologically would be reassuring to me as a member, even though I never am there, which is the only reason why I brought it up.
Yeah, I keep a track of the commercial real estate market for shop space for Crash as well as my other projects, and there aren't a lot of empty buildings yet. It has not hit hard yet. What we all think is looming has not loomed. So it just hasn't. There's still a lot of buildings out there. I mean, there are buildings out there, but there aren't. It's not like a super renters or buyers market quite yet. And having said that, here's a wonderful little building for $1.3 million on Washington near the 10 freeway. That's almost 3 times the size of Crashbase.
I mean, that sounds pretty good. Like 1.3, like that's, anyway. So if we could be in a position where we could move on something like that, I know we can't, it would require a significant capital fund, which Crashbase doesn't really have that much experience running a significant capital fund, although we did it had like a really great, for more altruistic things. Like we got a great response on COVID. We got a great response when we wanted to raise money for new tooling in the space that Emily did a great job of running for classes. So I think we could run a capital campaign to buy a space. It just would have to be something that the organization thought was a priority, which it may not be. I just thought I would put it out there.
Well, that sounds like the kind of thing that perhaps the membership committee can look into, is getting information from current members on, what are their needs? If we can get a space equivalent to Crash Space that's on, central LA, downtown, east side, would that be something that people would want to take advantage of at the current membership level for an additional membership? I think there may be some surveys in people's future here.
Yeah, we have some new blood in the board and officers that might, we get to see what folks are interested in pursuing.
I assume the board is going to be directing the money-based stuff, and stuff like the membership chair and membership committee are going to be doing everything that's free. Big improvements for free. BIFs.
I would also say, talking about what Justin had brought up earlier in terms of jobs and things like that, a lot of other makerspaces and hackerspaces around the country are involved more concretely in workforce development programs. And I think that could be a really good fit for Crash too, to say, hey, we need more space. We're trying to kick up some workforce development programs that could help people in LA, teach them technical skills, things like that. It could be a good way to bring on some goodwill from partners that might be able to help us on the funding.
Yeah, like trade tech.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd already made notes that maybe that's an excuse to have a different space, is if we had areas where people could put together presentations, not really like not like a studio, but something more like the streamer spaces or the craftsperson spaces that used to be real common a few years ago for YouTube personalities, where it'd be like a shop with the tools and a camera set up and good lighting, and you could go there and make a video or make a class presentation or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Another thought on that front is thinking about the Crucible in Oakland, if anybody knows that space. A lot of industrial arts. And I've actually been thinking about that kind of thing a lot. So if we do decide to go that route, I would like to be involved.
Or
at least thinking about it and researching the possibility.
Sorry, what did they do with the Crucible?
The Crucible is it's kind of a makerspace. It's a really, really large space. They have separate spaces all through with different like industrial arts. They have welding, they have glass blowing, they have woodworking, and like all the tools. Place is freaking huge. And art things, and then there's also spaces for artists and makers to come in and work there, and big like spaces for community meetings and whatnot. And they do a lot of classes and all kinds of stuff like that. A little bit along the lines of Molten Metalworks or community, the woodworking place over there, but bigger and more stuff.
There's a group. There's a group I want to that's kind of similar to that we got exposed to through COVID response, called OpenWorks in Baltimore, and it's kind of a similar idea. Like you can actually rent little studio pods as a member. So that could be like, if we get more space, there could be a way that having some sort of individual workspace at the shop becomes a higher tier membership thing. Like that could be a great way to bring in the revenue to help on that.
Yeah, that's always been a dream of mine. I mean, I'd pay $1,000, $1,500 a month right now for a 10 by 10 foot space. Yep. Within the maker community, within a hacker space, with even the shops that we have at Crash. So
when you build a real ecosystem there, like we'd have different artists who could help each other on different projects in different ways. It'd be a really great way to build the community.
Yeah. I have a proposal ready. So
Dave,
yeah, but
what's
a
up?
building like that is a 4,000 to 8,000 square foot building.
Yeah. Go big or go.
The listing that Steve just sent. Oh, for another $300,000, they'll chip in the billboard.
It's actually quite a cute building. It's a little bit more than twice the size of Crash, but it's got back parking and a storage unit. So maybe it's more than closing it on 3 times.
Okay, I'm seeing where it is. It is 0.9 miles from the La Cienega stop. Exciting.
It would be nice to be walking distance to the train station too, just so that way anybody in the city would have access to it in a different way.
Yeah, I mean, I say this as somebody who has taken the 733 bus many times to the space.
I don't think that the current, metro stop is farther away than 9/10 of a mile.
Yeah, it's close.
Yeah, I think it is like slightly closer than that.
Yeah. Also, the billboard doesn't make any sense because it's only paying about 21,000 a year, but they want 300,000 for it. So
yeah,
you're looking at a 15-year amortization of the billboard. Makes no sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, do you have any idea what I'd be able to put on that billboard? It'd be really fun.
Oh my God. We could have we could, oh boy, like permanent, constant art show.
We have a wonderful sign frame right in front of the crash space door that we talked about filling in with something. It's our space. We can put anything there we want.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's easier for me to post on the blog than it is for me to do that.
Yeah.
For right now, there you go.
You just got to think about something that's worth $300,000 to share with the city.
Worth
Well,
$300,000 versus have $300,000 is two different things. Anyway, sorry. I'm sorry. Well, thank you for you guys have suitably answered my questions. Thank you so much.
All right. There's nothing else. We can wrap up the member meeting.
Yeah.
The board, we have a brief board meeting scheduled following this, so anybody who wants to can hang around, but otherwise we can adjourn the annual member meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Good night, everyone.
Yay, it worked.
All right.
Applause for all the people who got this set up and stressed about it. Thank you.
Yeah, it worked perfect.
Thank you.
Worked very, very well.
Yep. And we got our deposit back from the city of Culver City for the rooms we weren't using.
Cool.
That's good to know. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and call we adjourned the member meeting.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and call her. We still have, we have all the
Seconded.
enough board people here. Yes, indeed.
Oh wait, Cobalt's here now.
Oh, hey.
I'm here. I put this one into my phone and everything, and I'm still.
Oh. We're
And
all
we
right.
could vote in the new board members and officers and whatnot.
Yes, we need to. That's basically what we need to do for the board meeting, is to sort of. So we have our election results.
Yep.
And so basically we need to put forth to everyone, is everyone okay with the results of the election? So we accept the the officer election results?
Yes.
I say yes.
Yes. Yes.
I think that's enough to carry it. All right.
Mhm. All right. Cool.
So we have another. We are that September 27th is our next meeting.
Yeah.
That's correct. Okay.
Yeah. Does it? I should. Do you want me to plan on attending that one as well as like to transfer over? Or?
That would probably be helpful, but you can coordinate that with Sean.
Okay. I mean, it's no like big deal for me either way.
Right.
Especially as it's virtual.
We'll touch base with you after, Levi. If you could do a rundown of essentially what you do for each task, I can start studying over that.
Okay. Yeah, I just need to make sure you'll have access to
All the things.
Yeah. God. I mean, this is like talk about like
Levi,
institutional memory. This is like 7 years of stuff. What?
Levi, do you have a written document about what that job entails?
Oh, I did at one point, but
Along the lines of, I mean, membership is spectacular in that way. That was one
Yeah.
thing that I always really, really appreciated is the long, detailed how to be membership chair document.
yeah, I got to think through. I know like some of these things are just going to be like, you'll probably just, it'll come up and I'll just need to be like, oh yeah, that's how this works. But yeah, I got to think that through. It's been so long.
You could create it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So why don't you take that offline so we can conclude here, and everyone can enjoy the rest of their evening.
Okay.
I'm sure everything will be great, Sean.
Yeah.
I think that documentation is probably a good first step to make sure that take what already exists and sort of flush it out so that it's.
Yeah. My guess is, Sean, we can just like work on a doc together and I can just like figure out how to pass it over.
That's a good idea.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do want to say in terms of Sean and Josh, more so for Josh, we have a sort of every other week, every 2-week meeting with Sanssouci, which Theron, do you want to let Cynthia know to send
Yes.
Josh an invite? And
Yes.
it would probably be worthwhile for Sean to get an invite as well, and also let her know that we can pull Ariel and Cobalt's and not have them invited anymore because they don't need to be invited. But Josh, go ahead, Barb. What were you going to say?
I was going to say I would suggest that membership chair is a complicated enough job and whole system and important enough, given that that's like all of our income, to have overlap. We have always had overlap with membership chairs when we've
Yeah, that's fine. My point about this is, Josh, especially you, if you can show up. The next scheduled meeting is Thursday the 27th at 1:00. It has always been either telephonic or we use Google Meetup. So just like this. So since you're here, you can do it. Actually, Sean, I recommend this very highly. There are some things that I do because there's an overlap between what the secretary does and what the treasurer does, and in terms of corporate filings and being an attorney, I'm sort of really aware of needing to get them done. So, and I just haven't told you, Ariel, because I figure it just didn't need to. Having weight taken off your shoulder, you didn't need to know. So there are filings in there that you just need to know, and it's also will be useful for you to see what is happening behind this, so that you can be brought up to speed in terms of the officer corps. So, and welcome both of you.
Thank you.
But Josh, it's really important you're there. You don't have to make the entire meeting. And
I'm there.
and okay, but yeah, it's really important to have the membership, because a lot of it is on membership. So
I'd also point out that historically, in terms of membership chairs, like all the past membership chairs are still kind of good resources for stuff.
Yes.
So feel free to
Yeah,
ask.
I was gonna say that it's like a lot of us on this call right now have either been involved with secretary stuff or with membership stuff. So even if one of those people who were officially the last ones aren't around, talk.
Yeah, and there's a lot of institutional memory which is in our Google Drive. So Todd, can you make sure that Josh and Sean get access to the Google Drive? Because I mean, honestly, I'd be lost if I wasn't able to get into that.
Yeah, that's actually all managed by Sanssouci, so they'd be the best people to.
Oh, okay,
ask about
great.
Yeah, I can get that from them the 27th, Thursday. If I haven't already.
Actually, I guess Theron, when you contact Cynthia, when you email her, just let her know to add them as well to the Google Drive.
Yeah, I will do that.
Yeah, because as I say, it's really important. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're done then, unless anybody else has any business.
No, we'll be in communication, Sean. Don't stress about it. So I trust you.
Sounds good. I do think that certainly a lot of the compliance stuff is where I'm just completely green. And it is good to know, Kurt, that you have been handling a lot of that, because I do agree that having the legal background that you do is very advantageous and very conducive.
Yeah, well, we are very fortunate that we have Sanssouci, and a lot of the institutional memory is in there, and actually they have been helping tremendously with a lot of compliance issues, and so that, again, that's why I recommend, because then you'll see how you don't need to necessarily come to every meeting, but just seeing how that actually works behind the scenes. And honestly, any of the board or any of the members who want us to see what's going on, it's not private, Theron. So if you want to sit in on our meeting and see before you decide to jump in and take some of this administrative stuff off our hands, which I'm happy. You could definitely do that. But we are blessed with Sanssouci. It was one of the things that actually I think makes being able to do the administration for the space possible. And you can see Barb back there agreeing a lot. So and the last thing I want to say is, Ariel, I don't know what you did with your camera, but you suddenly looked like a 70s horror movie was going on with the red light and the ceiling fan. So that was pretty cool.
Okay, any other business, or can we wrap this up?
I think we're good.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to stop the recording now. Have a good night, and talk to you all soon.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.